Commander Elias Rourke gripped the controls of his ship, Artemis I. As the fabric of space seemed to twist and writhe around him, stars streaked past, bending into distorted spirals, each light smearing and pulling as if being sucked toward some unseen center. The hum of his engines had turned to an ominous rumble, a low vibration that resonated in his bones. "Station Bronte, this is Artemis I," he shouted into his comms. "I'm caught in a gravitational pull, coordinates unknown." Only static replied, but beneath the crackling he heard a faint sound, a whisper that brushed the edge of his mind, a voice just out of reach. With a violent lurch, the ship was flung free from the spiraling chaos. Artemis I hurtled forward before coming to a dead stop, floating in the silence of a strange, empty sector. Outside, a dark, looming moon hung in the void, its surface cracked and glistening like ancient, fractured glass. A deep sense of wrongness settled over him. Something about this place felt unnatural, a distorted echo of normal space. He tried the comms again, desperation clawing up his throat. "Station Bronte, this is Artemis I. Come in." Nothing. Elias checked his oxygen reserves, hands trembling slightly as he did the calculations. Enough for 24 hours. After that, there'd be no air, no power, no heat. His only choice was the moon below, which rotated slowly, casting eerie shadows across a surface scarred by deep crevices and crystalline spires that glowed faintly, pulsing with an unnatural, violet light. The landing was rough. Artemis I skidded along the surface, sending up plumes of dust and glittering fragments until it came to a jarring halt. Elias took a deep breath, letting the silence settle over him. The only sound was the faint hiss of his oxygen, a reminder of how utterly alone he was. He gathered his equipment, checking the seals on his suit, and powered up his flashlight. As he stepped out, his boots crunched over the brittle ground, each step sending little cracks snaking out across the surface. Landscape was barren, an expanse of pale gray rock dotted with crystalline formations that loomed like jagged towers, each one casting long shadows across the ground. As he moved, a strange sensation prickled at the back of his mind, a feeling of being watched. He turned, swinging his flashlight across the expanse. A dark shape flitted between the spires, moving with a fluid grace, almost as if gliding across the surface without disturbing the dust. "Hello," he called, his voice swallowed by the eerie silence. The shape paused just out of reach of his light. It was tall, slender, with limbs that extended and contracted as it shifted from shadow to shadow, as if its very form was liquid. It moved closer, and he caught a glimpse of its face, thin, with hollow cheeks and eyes that glowed a deep, unnatural violet. The creature's skin shimmered, like the surface of dark water disturbed by ripples. Elias felt a wave of cold sweep over him as the creature's gaze locked onto him. It seemed curious, studying him with an intense, almost childlike focus.
"You are lost?"
The voice was not in his ears but in his mind, each word reverberating like a pulse, deep and invasive. Elias swallowed hard, nodding slowly. "Yes, I'm stranded. My ship, it got pulled into this sector and..." His words trailed off as he realized he was explaining himself to something that shouldn't exist. The creature tilted its head, its violet eyes narrowing slightly. It was almost as if it knew what Elias was going to say before he spoke.
"Human,
It murmured, as if tasting the word.
an ancient design. Beautiful once, a gift."
A strange unease filled Elias. The creature's tone had shifted, its voice colder, sharper, and he could feel its presence expanding, pressing into his mind, probing. He took a step back, but the creature advanced, moving with a fluid, effortless glide. Its form shifted, limbs elongating, the violet glow beneath its skin pulsing faster, brighter. Elias felt his heart hammering in his chest, and a sudden, terrible thought crossed his mind. He was prey. "Listen, I don't mean any harm," he said, his voice trembling. The creature's gaze hardened, its eyes narrowing with a mixture of contempt and something darker.
"Humans,
that repeated, its voice laced with bitterness.
Once you were a gift, but now, a mistake.
Elias took another step back, but the creature's presence filled the space around him, its form stretching, curling around him like smoke. It moved closer, so close he could feel the icy energy radiating from it, seeping through his suit and chilling him to the bone. He stumbled backward, almost tripping over a jagged rock. What do you mean? The creature's face twisted into a hollow smile, revealing sharp, needle-like teeth.
You have become stagnant, a blight upon the fabric of this universe. I have watched you.
The voice slithered into his mind, each word a sharp, twisted thought that pierced his sanity.
You're kind. You consume. You destroy. You were given the stars, and you darkened them.
Elias's mind raced, the enormity of the creature's words sinking in. It hated him, hated humanity itself. He forced himself to keep his voice steady. I don't know what you think I am, but I'm just a pilot. I didn't choose this. I was just doing my job. The creature's eyes blazed, and the ground beneath Elias's feet seemed to vibrate.
You think your insignificance spares you?
It snarled.
You are all the same. Parasites, pulling life from worlds that are not yours.
Elias backed away, heart pounding as he felt the air grow colder, his breath condensing inside his helmet. The crystalline spires around them began to glow brighter, pulsing faster, mirroring the creature's violet light. Shadows twisted, stretching across the ground, forming jagged shapes that closed in on him from all sides. In a flash, the creature reached out, its hand like liquid metal, seizing his arm with an iron grip. Elias felt a cold, searing pain shoot through him as the creature's touch seemed to seep into his skin, crawling beneath the surface, twisting, infecting. He screamed, thrashing in its grasp, but it held him fast, its face inches from his own, eyes blazing with fury.
You will return to your world.
It hissed, each word a dagger in his mind.
And you will carry my message, a warning.
The creature released him with a violent shove, and Elias stumbled back, collapsing onto the ground. His vision blurred, the edges of his consciousness slipping as the creature loomed over him, its form dissolving into a mass of shadows that circled around him like vultures. In a final act of desperation, Elias scrambled to his feet, clutching his flashlight like a weapon. He staggered back toward Artemis 1, refusing to look behind him, feeling the creature's hateful gaze burning into his back. He reached the ship and sealed the hatch, his breath coming in short, panicked gasps. But even as he fumbled with the controls, he felt an icy presence pressing against the hull, seeping through the metal, settling into his mind like a virus. The console flickered to life, and as he prepared to lift off, he noticed a line of alien script burning across the screen, the letters twisted and sharp, etched with something that pulsed with a faint, menacing light. Elias's hands trembled as he read the message, his stomach twisting with dread. He didn't understand the language, but the meaning was clear, burned into his mind by the creature's voice.
You are a gift to the stars, but you have become a plague. Do not return.
As Artemis 1 rose from the moon's surface, Elias felt a presence lingering in his mind, a dark stain that he couldn't shake. Even as he sped away, he knew that somewhere in the depths of space, that creature watched him, its violet eyes blazing with a hatred that transcended time, a reminder of the warning he now carried. And as he drifted back toward known space, he could still feel the creature's touch, a cold whisper echoing in his mind, chilling him to his core. Do not return.